Hello, everybody, and welcome to Action and Adventure, the Hasbro Universe podcast. I'm your host,
Hello.
Daniel, and we have Callum.
Hello. That's me, it's Callum.
Yes, and we are back to talk about some comic books.
Yes.
Yeah, some good comic books, some bad comic books, some comic books that have sparked many a debate.
And perhaps some comic books that haven't quite come out yet.
Yes, we'll talk about all that. So, this is our second episode, and because of that, there's been some news that have come out, and we want to briefly touch on that just to get things started. So first off is the August solicitations for IDW have come out with confirming that August will see the release of Wrath of Karza number 5, ROM number 14, ROM vs. Transformers Shining Armor number 2, Optimus Prime number 10, Lost Light number 9, and, let's see, G.I. Joe number 9, M.A.S.K number 10, which is going to be the final issue of M.A.S.K, and First Strike, yes, thankfully, and First Strike number 1 and number 2. So actually a lot of these are the last issue of their series.
Yeah, it's all kind of coming to an end.
Yeah.
With First Strike, I guess.
Yeah, so like Wrath of Karza, I mean, we knew that was a 5-issue thing.
Well, yeah, true.
So, but yeah, ROM number 14 is described as being, the end of ROM's opening salvo against the Dire Wraiths, which means his series is coming to an end, but they also say that it's not the last issue, so pretty much we can confirm that book is getting relaunched. Yeah. So, and G.I. Joe, it's also described as
it's the final issue before this month's First Strike crossover, which is sort of vague, I feel.
Yeah.
I feel, it's probably continuing, I think.
Yeah, well, it says it's all comes to a head, so they're definitely wrapping up probably, like, the key things, like the Baroness is on the cover, and anyone who's been reading Joe knows that the Baroness is a thing, is like a big thing. But yeah, it looks like all the titles are pretty much coming to an end right as we enter First Strike, with the exception of the Transformers series and G.I. Joe.
Well, even Optimus Prime, I imagine, may be going on a kind of hiatus for kind of regular issues in September, I'm guessing. Will they be running alongside it? Because we've heard, and we'll get to that, I suppose, with some of the Amazon stuff, but there's going to be one-shots for First Strike, I assume, in September and October.
Yeah. Revolution happened, and pretty much all the titles started, and then Revolution happened, with the exception of M.A.S.K. M.A.S.K was sort of the only one that really was spun out of Revolution. So, honestly, one of the things that kind of worries me about this is, will this be an annual thing? Like, every comic only running for, 10 to 12 issues, and then starting over? Because I'm not... Yeah. I like the idea in theory, but in practice, I don't know how well it will work.
It's a big topic in comics in general, isn't it? Event fatigue and constant new number ones, and I think we're all slightly glancing one side at Marvel right here.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I assume, Optimus Prime, it's not going to reset to 1, certainly. It's going to just pick up afterwards, and Lost Light is just carrying on regardless, as far as we know.
Yeah.
And, G.I. Joe remains to be seen. But, ROM is presumably getting some kind of new number 1, whether it's I assume, I don't know, just a new ongoing would seem weird. But, I mean, I feel
like they've got to
restart ongoings.
Yeah.
A year after they start.
See, I almost feel like it's got to do something like Wrath of Karza, where it's they add a subtitle or something to it.
Yeah, I assume it is going to be ROM something.
Yeah, ROM Legends of the Space Knight or something. Well, assuming they can use Space Knight, even though Marvel has the trademark on Space Knight. it's one word versus two. I don't know what the situation with that is, but yeah,
it's interesting and perhaps concerning. I do agree. I think everyone was surprised when First Strike got announced in that. It was someone had an exclusive reveal, wasn't it? But everyone was like, "Oh, ready?"
But we kind of knew it was coming because of the insurgency stuff.
Yeah.
But even then, everyone assumed that it was going to be the Inhumanoids story arc.
But no, that was like, I think that could have 1-2 punch of, no wait, that's a Fatal Fluffy, and then wait, no, it's not called Insurgency even. It was a bit of like, oh gosh, okay.
Yeah, it was kind of, but I mean, it was that, it was the Scylla and Charybdis thing, it was all these kinds of things that, M.A.S.K was going to go underground. It's sort of all this stuff was pointing towards Inhumanoids, and then no, First Strike, it's Baron Ironblood attacks Cybertron, which I mean I'm not gonna knock that idea because I love that idea. I love Baron Ironblood, but it's like they it was a nice little. We all expected this one thing, and then they swerved us at the last minute.
Yeah, I think for me the thing that makes me say like, okay, no, I am happy to give First Strike a go, is that kind of like Revolution did. It's the story from what we know of it seems to come quite naturally out of the stuff that's been going on in the books. Like the whole thing is Baron Ironblood attacks kind of Earth's joining the Council of Worlds ceremony. It's like, okay, Earth is obviously going to do that, and obviously the Tillala 1 cast were going to have to turn up, and obviously G.I. Joe would be involved. And it's like, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, the fact is, we didn't even know if Micronauts or ROM would even be a part of this event until the the trade paperbacks. Which,
yes.
Well, I mean, and let's just go ahead and move on to that. We have confirmation of trade paperbacks from Amazon, which Amazon, man oh man, do they just like we have solicitations for stuff that's not going to come out till February of next year. It's crazy. But on the since we last talked, the Amazon trades that have been confirmed are Optimus Prime Volume 2, which is kind of collecting the arc that's now beginning with issue 7, which we're going to talk about today.
And also the annual, I imagine.
Yes.
Well, the Transformers annual that is essentially Optimus Prime annual.
Yeah. Then we have the Autocracy trilogy, which is finally getting, I guess that's going to be a hardcover collection. I can't remember.
Guess. Although, I mean, they're doing blooming paperback versions of those big IDW collections somehow. So, I don't know how those kind of are structurally possible for a book, frankly, but...
Yeah. And then Wrath of Karza, which, I mean, collects the 5-issue miniseries. It's whatever. But then the big thing that came out was the First Strike trade paperback and First Strike Champions. Now, Champions is going to essentially collect... It looks to be collecting all the tie-ins, similar to how Revolution had the Hasbro Heroes and then had the Transformers tie-ins. But because there's less tie-ins, they're going to essentially kind of compile them all into one singular trade paperback, because we have the Revolutionaries teaming up with Optimus Prime. We have ROM and the Micronauts, and then teaming up with the Micronauts, and then we have G.I. Joe teaming up with M.A.S.K. Now, what's interesting to me is that, does this mean that we're essentially going to get, like, 2-part stories? Like, are we going to get a Revolutionaries tie-in that, like, a First Strike Revolutionaries that then continues on into First Strike Optimus Prime? And
that's an interesting point, because I've been thinking, is that just 3 then? That doesn't feel like trade flash. No, that makes sense. That is going to be it, isn't it? There'll be an Optimus Prime First Strike and a Revolutionaries First Strike that tell a story together. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, that, I was thinking the exact same thing. Was, are we only getting 3 issues? But the page count is still at 144, which is which is the equivalent of 6 issues, which either means we're getting 3 double-sized tie-ins, or two-part or like essentially two-parters that'll team. But that's the thing. But they're sort of taking all the would-be tie-ins and sort of teaming them up into into three individual kind of stories. That G.I. Joe and honestly, I really like that. I really like the idea of pairing off books and sort of and having the team ups, and the teams also feel very natural to me.
It's a smart way of doing it, thinking as well, because that means I assume there'll be 3 one-shots in September, each of which starts a 2-part story, and then the 3 conclusions in October, and that nicely safeguards you from any of the stuff that happened with Titan's Return, where stuff got books that were supposed to be released the same month in a specific order and didn't, and spoiled each other.
Yeah.
So having 3 separate stories which continue the next month would solve that nicely.
Yeah.
Because mostly stuff still comes out in like month order. Mostly.
Yeah. And even Revolution had its delays of I think Till All Are One was one of those that got delayed. That sort of messed with the continuity. But yeah. So and I really like the teams personally because it's it makes sense. Revolutionaries and Optimus Prime. You have Cup as kind of the connector. Well, I mean, really, that whole team also was the were XRAD characters. Rom and the Micronauts. They're both the otherworldly kind of the aliens, and they have, and there was that. What's it? Acroyear called Rom was armor brother. Brothers. So it's it's team those two up. Oh my gosh, Rom and Acroyear are they're armor bros. I love it. And then we have G.I. Joe and M.A.S.K because they're the human military guys that nobody cares about.
they hang out a bit anyway.
Yeah. I mean, they already teamed up in the M.A.S.K annual, so it's we'll just team you guys up again.
Oh, but I'm really hoping that Optimus Prime Revolutionaries does have Thundercracker in it because
yes, please. Oh my god,
I need that sort of John Barber's happy fun time party.
Yes.
Story.
Oh my god, Thundercracker hanging out with Action Man. I think they would get along great. They would get along so well. The other big thing was the fact that we got the first Strike trade paperback, and the Amazon's info seems to leak the identity of Baron Ironblood. Now, Callum, have you looked at this? You have not.
I am still still pure. Do not dirty my ears.
Okay. See, I have, and for the sake of our listeners, I will not.
Yes.
I will not say, for both you and for the sake of our listeners, I will not say. But I will go ahead and say this, for anyone who's curious. I don't see how it's possible. Okay? I'm
That's
serious.
Intriguing.
I don't want to say any more than that, but it's
please
I don't see how I don't see how it's possible. But,
a few months ago, wouldn't have seen how Hearts of Steel existing in the Hasbro universe could have been possible. But such odd ways of John Barber.
Yes, which that segues into... You're just killing it with the segues today, Callum.
Oh, yeah.
That segues us into... we got a few previews for the next issue, for the next couple issues. We got Optimus Prime number 8, Lost Light number 6, and ROM number 11. And those are
Salvation. The Salvation one shot.
Oh yeah, and the Salvation one shot. See, I honestly half the time I forget that that's a thing because I didn't read Redemption or any of the Autocracy trilogy, so it's I sometimes just completely forget that the Dinobot trilogy exists.
Well, it's a funny story. I in fact forgot. I'm pretty sure that iTunes preview came out a week ago, but I forgot to search for it, so I didn't find it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, but I mean they're pretty simple, little previews. Honestly, it's the ROM stuff is we see Livia and Orpheon and ROM, and they're planning on doing something, but apparently Orpheon's got something sinister that he's cooking up. Optimus Prime, we get
Casey Collar's first interiors in ages.
Yes.
And his first full interiors in ages and ages.
Yeah. See, I was at NC Comic-Con a few months back, and John Barber was there, and he was talking about the upcoming issues, and he mentioned that he convinced Casey to come back because it was a jazz-focused issue. And and Casey Collar loves jazz, so he was able to sort of convince him to come back.
I can't even think last full interiors he did. Was that the last issue of the Costa ongoing? Maybe that sort of flash forward of Fahrenheit and Out. I think it might have been.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds right.
He did like partial interiors on some XROD issues, I think.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
It's one of those things we can't really talk about, like, what we see in the Optimus Prime, teaser, because, it sort of is stuff that we're going to touch on that gets set up
true, yeah.
in the 7th issue.
Yeah.
But the big thing is Revolutionaries number 5. Now, I actually want to tell a story real quick. Before this preview came out, it was discovered on Wednesday. It was discovered that the Hasbro Heroes Sourcebook number 1 got leaked on iBooks a week early.
They do this sometimes.
Yeah,
it's just a thing. Occasionally, whoops! Release the issue early. Oh well.
Yeah, I mean it's iBooks. It's like not really many people buy comics through iBooks, honestly. But the big thing about that was, because Callum posted it in the AllSpark, and was like, can anyone confirm if this is like the full thing? And I was like, well, I'll do it. And I'm going through, and hey, it'll be good wiki stuff. Then we find a page for Centurion. Now, for those of you who have not been reading Revolutionaries, Centurion is the name that's given to the Hearts of Steel Bumblebee that shows up in issue 3 of Revolutionaries. And essentially everyone was like, okay, how are they doing Hearts of Steel in the main universe? We get our first, and so I know, and that's the thing, and essentially what the Hasbro Heroes Sourcebook does is it outlines the entire history of Centurion and the Hearts of Steel.
Because it's worth pointing out, this Sourcebook issue was not supposed to come out until after Revolutionaries 6.
Yes.
But because Revolutionaries is 2 months late currently.
Yes. Now, I'm not going to say what happens in the Sourcebook because A, Callum has asked me not to, and B, I don't want to spoil things that, I will, the information is out there. It's free for people to find, so if they want to go looking for it, they can, but I'm not going to say it. But let's just say when I first read this, it blew my mind. But anyways, but in the Revolutionaries number 5, we got
our first sort of glimpse at what is perhaps going on here. So yeah, it's not all the details. I am still not entirely clear what's happening, but
yes,
I'm starting to put the picture together.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't even really want to like confirm your theory or anything. I don't want to do anything that will tip you off. So like I don't want to mention it. So if you want to go look at it, but like let's just say it's like it's crazy, okay? Mm-hmm. But yeah, like it definitely blew my mind. So,
and on a related note, I'm looking here at those Revolutionaries 5 preview pages with the gorgeous retro Guido Guidi art, which is just always the best thing ever. And it's forever the stupidest thing that all of Regeneration 1 didn't look like this. But anyway, I've just noticed looking at it that on all the scenes of space, you can actually see the colour of like the pinks and the yellows over the sort of like Kirby crackle. You can see it bleeding out into the black. Like it's
It's so pretty.
Old-fashioned way. It's so lovely.
So nice. Yeah. Yeah, and it really works well as, like, it contrasts really well with Fico Ocio's work. It's like, this is really good. It's really good stuff. So, yeah. But yeah, I think, like, man, like, the source book coming out early was like it was like a great thing, like, but it was like a great, like, I'm glad I went ahead and got it, but it's like, it's just like, oh man, I feel, especially because, like, I feel like, like, such an insider, because people were like because I remember like when it happened, like, people were like asking me, like, to tell them what happened, and all that, and I was like no. Yeah, so I felt like such an insider, it's like, got some inside info, but no, it's like, you could honestly get it for $5, but honestly, don't waste the $5, just wait for it to get, like, released officially if you want it, if you want to know.
And so, just as kind of like an aside to wrap this up, I do really love that kind of how this turns out. The nonsense color schemes from Hearts of Steel are being used as a plot point.
Yeah.
Like, in this preview page, you've got sort of not Ironhide there in green, and it's like, no, yeah, he is green in the issue for some reason, because the person who colored Hearts of Steel was just, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
Why is everyone the wrong color? It's not.
Yeah, you got, like, yellow Bumblebee and.
You mean white Bumblebee?
Yeah.
And I don't know, green and pink Ratchet. It's like.
But no, that entire miniseries, the coloring is so strange. Like, the Insecticons all just like block red or purple or something.
I really should go back and read Heart of Steel. Who knows? Maybe that'd make a good bonus episode before Revolutionaries number 5.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll talk about it. So yeah, that's the big thing. We touched on the source book leak, and of course the fact that another big point about the source book is, another spoiler is it also spoils something with Revolutionaries number 6 in the Atomic Man profile. So that's saying this is going to spoil your next 2 months worth of comics. Just fair warning.
And it's worth pointing out as well that this issue, it came out early on iTunes last week, but it's going to, for realsies, coming out everywhere next week, the Wednesday of the week you'll be listening to this, I suppose.
Yeah, so it's coming out tomorrow. Well, I guess.
If this comes out Tuesday, it comes out tomorrow.
Yeah, it should come out. It's coming out this week, and we'll be talking about it on episode 3, so.
Yeah, be wary of the Atomic Man and Centurion profiles if you wish to have a spoiler-free Revolutionaries experience. And I think we will be avoiding mentioning those spoilers when we talk about it on the show next week.
Yeah, we will. And we'll... So
2 weeks.
Yeah. Next week, y'all are getting possibly... Y'all are getting a fun episode next week. We're trying out some bonus episodes, so it'll be fun. All right, let's get started with the comics. So, first off, we have Optimus Prime number 7. Callum, what happened to this issue?
So we have finished our new Cybertron opening 6-issue arc, first trade paperback, and now it's time for some downtime issues, which those were a thing in XRID, weren't they? Sort of have a big exciting arc, and then sort of everyone takes stock of it afterwards, like the very good old Cosmos and Soundwave on Sanctuary Station issue. It's in that kind of vein.
I do love that issue. That was a great issue.
So yeah, in the past, Jetfire is joining the police force after teaming up with Prowl and Orion in the last arc, and in the present day, the Junkions are building their new home on Earth, on Bikini Atoll. And so we've got a few threads. Optimus is meeting with the president, and they're discussing things, including amping us up for next issue. Jazz is doing a television interview. A few bits with Aileron and RC and Pyromagna and Marissa Fairborn. And yeah, Pyromagna is still grumpy about Optimus being in charge. And has plans, as Waspinator would say.
Pyromagna has plans.
And in the past, Jetfire gets beaten up by his old Decepticon friends for working with the police now.
Yeah.
And Nose Cone, meanwhile, is being a dick. Like, sorry, Nose Cone, but no, you're being a dick.
I mean, when's the last time Nose Cone got any kind of story, you know?
Probably when he died. Wait, was he one of the ones who died in Chaos? I assume he was. I think he was. Yeah.
Yeah, I think. I can't remember.
At least he's dead now. There you go. Serves you right, Nose Cone, for being a dick to Jetfire.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of a racist too, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, because he's I guess functionist in this.
Very functionist.
Yeah. So I personally really liked this issue. Like, I mean, I thought it was a nice cooldown issue. Like, it wasn't spectacular. Like it wasn't some blown. Like, it didn't blow me away. But I thought it was a nice cooldown issue. Like, I like having those. I think they're necessary for stories, like, you know, after you have a big story to sort of take stock, and it's setting up some future threads that we can that are going to be explored in future issues. So, like, we have the Jazz interview coming, like, next issue,
and then actually in the Sideswipe thing, which is coming in 2 issues time. So it's all very sort of stuff.
And we just get to take stock more of the sort of the dynamics between the characters. Like, we see Doc hanging out with Buster and Thundercracker, which I love Doc, and I love Doc and Buster. Like, they're great. And we also see Sly.
Actually, that makes me think that because I realised this today, just rereading the issue before this, and is that actually Doc with Thundercracker and Buster, or is it a plush Doc? I think it is a plush dog toy Doc.
Oh, is it?
Because it's got like a little smiley face and a heart, and it's sort of pudgy compared to if you flip back a few pages, Doc hanging out in the kind of the medical bay.
I just thought that was Doc with like little arms, but
I thought the same until like half an hour ago, rereading this issue.
Maybe
it is
right.
It's a plush dog toy of Dog with a little heart on his chest.
Do you think Thundercracker had that custom made? Think someone at the EDC made that for him?
No, just like in real life, people are selling Transformers plushes on Etsy in this universe. Like, that would happen. Can't tell me that wouldn't happen. Aliens turn up from space.
I mean,
in the news.
It's kind of dark when you consider the way most people interpret the Transformers in the universe.
It's always a bit like that kid in Micronauts with Optimus Prime pajamas, and it's just wait, no, was it Micronauts? Some kid had Optimus Prime pajamas.
Yeah, I think it was Micronauts. Well, and there's Matt Trakker, who was playing with a little Optimus Prime toy in like 2000. Yeah. Even though that doesn't really match up with the timeline, but
no,
maybe it was just a truck that happened to look like Prime. Yeah. Well, to be fair, it looks like movie Prime, really. So, anyways, digressing. Yeah. But we do get to see Doc. Because when Aileron and RC are talking about friends, it's like he makes a little hologram of Buster and he looks all sad. It's like, I love those two. Oh my gosh, they should get a spin-off, honestly. I would read that.
Yeah.
We also get Slide, who is definitely not happy with Optimus Prime.
No. Oh, we've not mentioned Priscilla Tramontano on art, doing a very nice job.
Yeah, that's the next thing I was going to bring up, was Priscilla's art is... I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah, no, I've seen people sort of like trash talk it for being kind of cartoony. Like, no, it's supposed to be like that. And I'll admit that sometimes, like, it doesn't have, like, I don't know, kind of Casey Collar level sort of like perfection of kind of form. Like, occasionally, like, something looks a little odd, but kind of the aesthetic makes up for any like slight like wonkiness, I would say. It's cute and lovely, and I like it.
Yeah, well, and it fits the tone of the book, being a more, chill kind of
That's a good point.
short story. It's like I think. I mean, like I love K's art. K Zama's who did the art on the last arc, but that was very action intensive, and like with the Junkions and all that. So a harder style kind of worked with that story. With this kind of cool down issue, it's like, yeah, we can have a more simplified art style.
Oh yeah, definitely. No, it fits kind of like kind of a chill pace to this issue.
Even if like sometimes the coloring looks a little weird, like Marissa's a redhead now, where she's usually a
that was interesting. Yeah, I think that is kind of that's a result of, I think, kind of in the previous arc, her hair has been a kind of a redder shade of brown.
Yeah,
I would say.
Which
and that's kind of slipped even further into red now.
Which, or she could have just dyed it.
True.
True. She's seeing the world. She is. She's going on exotic locales. Let's dye her hair. Just gotta switch it up.
Where is the panel of Marissa in the previous arc? I want to say kind of it's kind of oranger than it would be normally in the previous arc, because Josh's colours on those issues are very kind of saturated.
Yeah.
And that's kind of ended up transferring maybe over into red hair there.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the thing, there's not a whole lot to say about this issue. It's but
yes, it's not a mind blower, but it's a nicely done little kind of aftermath issue.
Alright. So, next up, let's talk about the other Transformers title to come out. Yes. Transformers Till All Are One, number 10.
My oh my.
Oh boy. Okay.
Has this been the issue everyone's talking about, eh?
Yeah, so the issue opens with Starscream after the end of number 9, with Bumblebee trying to be all like, hey, Starscream, like, what are you doing? I thought you were starting to be more of a good guy, you have the power to change. And he's still all, no, I don't. And then he goes to meet up with Arachnid. So once again, we're bringing in a Prime character into the G1 continuity.
Which it is unsurprising given Meredith Scott's kind of heritage on Transformers.
And we learn that she is a Nemosurgeon. In fact, she's the Nemosurgeon that's been leaving all those bodies from back in the first arc. And we learned that she's a banished Fate Spinner from Eucharis, who was banished when she tried to learn more advanced skills. So, anyways, Starscream has recruited her to get into the minds of one of the Combaticons. That way he can manipulate one of them into being a loyal servant. And the one he chooses is Blastoff, which leads us into a dream sequence for Blastoff where he and Onslaught are together in a nice domestic setting. And then, of course, Starscream shows up in the dream, and Blastoff is all like, hey, get out of my dream. Starscream says, I can help you. We can make it so that Onslaught notices you. Because he doesn't. But we can make it so he does. We can help you. We can help you achieve this domestic life that you want. And Blastoff is at first against it, but Starscream manages to use his silver tongue and convinces him to allow him to. And basically Starscream says that we just need you to make sure that when the Combaticons start to question things that they don't. Sort of keep them from questioning their changing memories too much. Mm. And so he agrees, and Onslaught wakes up, and he takes Blastoff's hand. So, yeah.
And so, saying Optimus Prime 8, kind of, 7, nice kind of sedate, not much of kind of a wham issue.
Yeah.
Well,
Honestly,
that was a wham issue.
Honestly, I think this is probably the best issue of Till All Are One that we've gotten so far.
Oh gosh, yes. No. And that's not to denigrate the other issues.
Oh yeah. I mean, like number 9. Like I'd say number 9 was the best before this one. Like this whole arc, I can already tell is going to be really solid. But if we might, for just a second, let's talk about the reactions that this book has gotten.
It's been talked about a lot, I'll say that.
Yeah, so I feel like, I mean, there's several layers to reaction to this. Like, for one, there's the homophobics, you know?
Yes.
Who just don't, or the people who don't want romance in their Transformers, who are not fans of the fact that this is very centric on the Blast-Off Onslaught relationship.
Yes.
And then you have the people who see this issue and think, and first off, I want to say, I want to make this very clear. I do not have a problem with Transformers being in romantic relationships. I don't have a problem with gay robots, and I for one do not have a problem with the physical intimacy of that. But that's one thing that a lot of people. This definitely takes the physical intimacy of Transformers to a new level.
I think kind of beyond the kind of like thick people just being like, ew, gay.
Yeah.
Like, beyond that, I think the reason that this issue was like, holy crap, for a lot of people was that, yeah.
Yeah,
there is a level of kind of physical intimacy that has not really been a thing.
Yeah, I mean, like, not to call anybody out, but like, even Chris McFeely was saying that he was not really a huge fan of like Transformers actually kissing, which, I mean, like that's but I understand that. Like,
it's like, yeah, at this point, Transformers like doing romantic stuff is it's well established. I think nobody but the most sort of like daft old 30-something idiot at this point has a problem with Transformers having romantic relationships. Like, that was a thing in Beast Wars.
Yeah.
But yeah, this issue with the hand holding.
I mean, it was a thing in
like,
G1.
spooning,
honestly,
basically.
Yeah, I mean, go back to the Search for Alpha Trion. It's been there.
Yeah, true.
Since, yeah.
But yeah, the level of kind of physicality to it in this is not something that's really been a thing before. And I do kind of say fair enough to the people who are like, I'm not sure how I feel about this. Yeah. Because like they're not being like, yeah. I'm sure these people, feel the same if it's a male and a female Transformer.
Yeah, and for them it's
a question.
Yeah, I feel like for a lot of people that's a biological, like, for them it's a bit too far taking the robots, biologically to a sort of, to a too far of a human thing, because physical human intimacy is based in our organic nature. I personally don't have a problem with it. Like, I'm a fan of when we get more of. I'm a fan of the sort of humanization of Transformers in all of its forms, but I can understand why people were like. I can understand why people who are said, why should two robots kiss? I like. I don't really have an argument against that, other than well, they're not they're Transformers are ciphers of people and all that, but
no, yeah, I don't think Transformers shouldn't kiss and hold hands. That's not an unreasonable opinion. Yeah. But like, I'm not going to denigrate anyone for having that opinion. But like, goodness me, if it sort of did make this issue like hit harder though, because this issue is it's all about the emotional manipulation and that kind of physical aspect of the romantic stuff. That does make it all a bit more like, and especially with this bit, all that physicality being so unprecedented in Transformers, does make did all contribute to the sort of oh my goodness of this issue.
Yeah. That's another thing that has been a big divide between readers on this is there's a lot of fans who have been looking at this issue and saying, oh, Blast Off and Onslaught, they're so in love and all that. And can I just say to those people, if you're one of those people who looks at this issue and says, oh, how cute, look at Blast Off, look what he's doing for love, stay away from me, because this is emotional manipulation. Like, I
want to be optimistic and say that, like, I haven't seen as much of those reactions since Wednesday, and I'm being optimistic and saying, okay, maybe those people were reacting to out-of-context screenshots that have been sent to them. Like, I'm hoping that's the case.
Yeah.
But this is not a positive thing.
No, I mean, it's a great story. This is it's a fantastic issue.
Story.
It's great. But the fact is, what Blastoff is doing to Onslaught, altering the memories of Onslaught to go with Starscream and to make him, not necessarily have feelings for him, but to sort of that push that Starscream says. It's like that is emotional manipulation. It's kind of and that's the thing. And we're seeing like that's saying one of the things about the Combaticons that's been hammered home in this issue especially is the fact that they're all kind of terrible people. Like Onslaught revels in destruction. Vortex, is all about he'll pick people up and drop them from thousands of feet away. This is where we see Blastoff at his worst. Is emotionally manipulating, Onslaught for his own purposes.
Yeah,
and it's just. It's honestly kind of heartbreaking because you don't want because you're like, no, Blastoff, don't do it, and it's but it's such a good issue though. It's like
it's an incredibly good issue. It's one of those kind of issues that people will be referring back to as when they talk about Starscream.
Stories. Oh yes,
this is going to be,
and of course Starscream's continuing arc with this is just top notch. Because at the end of issue 9 we were all Bumblebee at the end of issue 9 when Starscream said guilty to the Badgeless, we were all like, no, you were supposed to be turning around. Which I think is why. Which it's a shame though that we're saying how good issue 10 is, and this Wednesday Marguerite had to go and break all of our hearts by announcing that Till All Are One is canceled with issue 12.
Which is So the story goes apparently that kind of Sales won the slide, and she was given by editorial the option of either retooling the book in some way, changing out the cast or the setting or something after First Strike, or kind of calling it a day there, and she decided to, when all power to her for making that choice, to say, like, no, I'm telling the story I want to tell, and I don't want to tell a different story, so I'm going to end this on my terms. And we're getting an annual next year sometime to finish everything off, and then Tool One will be gone.
Yeah, which that obviously leaves the question of is there just going to not be a book about Cybertron?
It's all very interesting.
And honestly, my biggest question though is like, especially because Marguerite said in her little because she posted this on her, I think it was her Tumblr. She said that she's been writing Transformers for however long, and so it's like, to me that was like, wait, so does this mean that Marguerite is leaving is no longer going to be writing Transformers after First Strike?
Well, I mean, the annual is technically after First Strike.
Right. Well, but after the annual, does that mean that Marguerite's no longer going to be writing for Transformers in any way? Is like...
Yeah, because I don't think she is doing anything for the Robots in Disguise cartoon anymore. I don't think she was in some kind of story-based role on that for a while, but I think no more. So yeah, quite possibly, which is a pity.
It really is. It's a real shame because, I mean, because that's the thing, because Till All Are One was quickly becoming my favorite of the three titles.
Oh, yeah.
Between...
Right.
But, not counting Revolutionaries, of course, because Revolutionaries will always be at the top. But of the three Transformers branded titles, this was my this was going to be my favorite. This was becoming my favorite. And it's like, and I almost wonder if it was the Titans Return arc that sort of is where people started to drop off.
So yeah, it is a shame the way that all ended up.
Yeah.
Knock-on effect of everything.
Yeah.
Especially, because I think was the first stuff Megan Scott did at IDW. I think it was the Rage of the Dinobots Prime tie-in, which was like okay, as I remember, and then the Beast Hunters comic. And sort of throughout all the stuff she's done for IDW, I've kind of felt like she's been getting kind of more and more into the swing of things, and doing these fantastic character-driven stories now on Till All Are One. And then it's all coming to an end.
Yeah,
which is a real shame.
It really is like especially because it definitely, like, reading these issues, it's like, okay, this was clearly the planned story after the first arc,
Well, yeah, it's kind of back to dealing with the fallout of the first arc, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, so I can't help but really feel like the Titans Return story kind of probably slowed the momentum of readers, and had that story either been shorter, like a tie-in around the same time.
Yeah,
I can't help but feel that sales would have been a lot better. Whether that would have been the case or not, I don't know. But it's just like, it's a shame that we're finding. It's like we pick up with two fantastic issues with 9 and 10, and then it's like, the series is over. It's like,
Yeah, for what it's worth, I'm really excited to see kind of what First Strike is like.
Yes.
Having, Scott, whose kind of thing is kind of character-driven stories, doing an event. Because, like, Revolution, obviously, like, John Barber's big into that, and, like, John Barber does kind of big, bombastic, like, light-hearted action.
And Cullen Bunn. Cullen Bunn also wrote that. And Cullen Bunn is a incredibly talented writer, able to do everything from comedy of Deadpool to the serious stuff like Sheriff of Babylon. So,
but I'm really interested to see how kind of First Strike turns out, assuming that kind of, and I think she has said as much in interviews that she is playing to her strengths and doing something character driven. Because that is absolutely her strength. Like, oh my goodness.
Oh, definitely. I really want to see how she handles. I really want to see how she handles characters like the Joes and like that's the thing, because we know she's a Transformers fan. We know she can write Transformers, but how does she handle the other properties? How does she handle Rom? I mean, especially for me, how does she handle Rom? Because Rom is my boy,
Yeah, it's going to be her first time on any of the other things, isn't it?
So, with the exception of, she wrote Shazraella, and she wrote Shazraella great in the Till All Are One tie-in to Revolution. So, yeah.
But then one could argue that Shazraella is basically Starscream.
True. I mean, that was the whole thing about the Till All Are One. But overall, great issue. I highly recommend you go out and pick this up if you haven't already.
Like you could read this in isolation. I think kind of you could read this as kind of
because we got the previously on, so it's overall I think it's a great issue, and we are sad to see it go. Speaking of Shazraella, let's talk about Micronauts, The Wrath of Karza, number 2.
2. So after the last issue, which was basically Baron Karza beats up the Hasbro universe.
Baron Karza versus the Hasbro universe.
everyone is like being dealt with, apart from actually Rom, who gets kind of flagged out on their computer screens with a big question mark this issue. But so yeah, all the Transformers and M.A.S.K and G.I. Joe have been dealt with, and now it is time for Karza to deal with the Micronauts themselves. And so a team led by Membros has been sent to get them, and they shoot down the Heliopolis, and Acroyear is forced to fend off Membros' team, which comprises of all the old Micronauts alien action figures. And whilst, good old boy Acroyear, I still have to catch myself. It's
I mean, you pronounce it however you want, even if it's wrong.
And a high price is paid. The Weeble perishes.
No.
It gets a dramatic panel. It gets a dramatic splash panel of the dead Weeble, and thus the Micronauts or most of the Micronauts are captured, apart from Larissa and Microtron, who are dead. Yeah, they're totally dead. We're going to assume they died in that explosion. They just died off panel. Main characters. Sorry, guys. And then back to Karza and Chazraela, who discuss again. Well, they receive the news that the Micronauts have been captured, and discuss again Baron Karza's time in the Entropy Storm, chatting with the time travelers, who are cryptic and strange, as they always are. And we get, I've not counted, but one of Micronauts' many interestingly laid out flashback, future, past, present, time traveler vision scenes.
Yeah, I mean it's really good stuff. Honestly, I love that pretty much every issue has one of these interesting splash pages.
But by guest artist Ron Joseph, these flashbacks, because Andrew Griffith is drawing the main series, obviously, and he draws most of this issue. But guest artist for the kind of time traveler vision flashback scene, which is neat. And they also bring up the fact, which it was implied heavily by the annual, but it's confirmed that Larissa is effectively Baron Karza's daughter. And then issue closes with Larissa and Microtron. They're not actually dead. Who would have thought that two of the main characters didn't die unceremoniously in an explosion? And they've got the M.A.S.K and they've got the element of surprise, and they're gonna stop. They're gonna stop them.
Yeah. So overall, I thought this was a solid issue.
Yeah.
I will say, it definitely. This is the issue that really made it feel like this was just the next arc of Micronauts, this story was originally planned as just the next arc of Micronauts. Because after the opening scene with Baron Karza, we immediately go back to the Micronauts being as chatty as ever with any other requests, maybe a cappuccino bar in the kitchen. So
that whole scene is great for banter. That might present a problem. The ship can't really fly without that part. Don't you crash my ship, Microtron. Apologies, Captain. It appears that is about to happen. But in my defense, they started it.
Yeah. Well, and of course, to the cappuccino machine, it's apparently Microspace has cappuccinos. Maybe that's the universal constant. I don't know.
Well, the Micronauts have human friends now. Maybe they have been offered offered cappuccino by the doctor whose surname changed. I forget which. Either of them.
Yeah, and of course, Acroyear says we could use a workout room. Friggin' Acroyear continues to be the best.
When we saw them very small, I think, in a few panels last issue, but we get kind of a good look at Membros' team, and it is one other first generation Acroyear, and then the other 5 of the original Micronauts Aliens figures. So it's kind of like a full set, which is kind of it's neat from a kind of using the toys perspective.
Yeah.
And they are Kronos, and so this is an interesting thing. The previous arc had the Micronauts meeting the sentient time chamber and its city full of microspace people who were based on the Kronos with a second O toys that are like kind of praying mantis kind of people.
Yeah.
But throughout that entire arc, they were consistently spelled Kronos with a U instead of the second O.
Yeah.
And so here now we have something that is a guy that is based on the Kronos toy. And so I assume this is the reason why the guys in the last arc were the Kronos, because this guy here can't possibly be one of the guys from the last arc, because they were like specifically a bunch of humanoid-looking microspace people that had like interchanged with grasshoppers or praying mantises or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So that I think probably that was the deal with that odd spelling there.
Yeah.
We got Kronos, the kind of insect guy, Centaurus. I want to say I need to check. Centaurus.
Who at first I thought was supposed to be Andromeda. Because at first, because I just saw the horse with the red mane, and at first I was like, wait, is that some new version of Andromeda? But then I was like, oh no, it's Centaurus. So yeah.
And then Antron and well, I suppose it's an Antron appeared previously, and then I guess this is another Antron. And then a Repto, which again, those were in the Revolution one shot, so again, I assume this is a Repto.
Yeah.
Although, the one shot claimed like they'd all disappeared into the entropy cloud, but I assume.
But clearly they survived inside.
Well,
the
I guess
cloud.
Could he have recruited this one from inside the cloud?
Exactly.
Possibly?
That's the thing with all that's the thing, we can kind of assume that most of the microspace that was absorbed by the entropy cloud just continued to still exist inside the cloud.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, but it also sort of it kind of destroys stuff a bit on the way in, almost.
Yeah. Like,
and then finally,
some of it survives, some of it doesn't. It's weird.
And then finally, Lobros, the guy who has like got his brain inside his mouth, and it's kind of it's alien design.
Yeah. I think the idea is that it's supposed to be sort of like a lobster.
Yeah,
I think
I believe so.
It's like so that's saying I always pronounce it Labros, but
that would make sense.
But
but lobe as in brain.
Yeah. Oh, okay. It could.
But no, it is clearly a lobster person.
Yeah, and it's both. It's either one. That's the thing. Until we have a commercial where the guy can confirm the pronunciation, like Acroyear, not Acroyear.
It's Takara's fault. That romanization with the A towards the end.
Because it's like I think
Takara did that. It shouldn't be there. It's all their fault.
Well, because it's supposed to be like, because it's supposed to be like Akuroya, which is like Aku, which is like
evil.
Evil, and then like Royer, which is like destroyer. So it's like, so I mean, it makes sense when you think about it, except like so it's like they just kept the pronunciation, but it's like they just romanized it, and it was like Acroyear. There's actually a Robot Chicken joke about that. like where a bunch of Micronauts are climbing a mountain, and then it's like, it's the evil Acroyear. Wait, I thought it was pronounced Acroyear. And then Acroyear says, it's neither. It's actually pronounced, and then he gets blown up. So.
The trivia point: Lobros or Lobros was mentioned previously as being a thing that might infest a prison cell in the first arc. I think perhaps Microtron is concerned that they're going to be thrown into like a Lobros infested prison cell. Yeah, they're a bit big for doing that, I'd say, but who knows? But maybe it's like maybe just one will be an infestation because it'll like eat them or something. I don't know.
don't know.
And then,
Microtron's dumb.
and the other, the green Acroyear is not referred to by name at all in the issue. I don't think, is it? Because for a moment I thought it might be Wraith, coloured differently, but I don't think it is.
But I feel like Acroyear killed Wraith in the.
Oh wait, yeah, I do not remember now. Did he kill him?
I feel like he did. I don't have my issues on hand to look at it, but.
Right. Yeah. Get him a digital copy.
Oh, hold on. Check the wiki. Assuming someone wrote up that issue, because I feel like there's a few issues.
I wrote up that issue, but
okay.
Oh no, yeah, he just he gives him a nice uppercut and knocks him out. Okay. I think that's the last you see of him.
Okay, so it's left ambiguous.
Yeah, but hang on. Yeah, is his helmet design the same as Wraith's? Because they kind of have.
Yeah, because it could be a different a miscoloring, or he's rebuilt or something. Because I mean, even Wraith had a greenish color to him.
Well, yeah, he was kind of turquoise.
Yeah, it was kind of a teal kind of thing. This is very forest green.
The helmet is it's a bit different, but close enough that it could also conceivably be just the artist making it different. So who knows? Maybe this guy will get referred to by name at some point.
Yeah, we'll have to see. But yeah, I mean, overall, I thought this was a really solid issue, except for the Weeble. The Weeble is the best member of the team.
The one thing I will say is that from a story, it's all very fun visually, but from a storytelling perspective, I am getting a little bit tired of the whole sort of time travelers turn up and are very vague about. Well, actually, they're less vague than they usually are. They straight up say one specific time traveler became the Entropy Storm, and now we're all kind of the Entropy Storm, which is that's a lot less vague than they've been previously.
Yeah.
But it's all still a bit and I know that it's all supposed to be sort of abstract and weird, but some of these vision panels and stuff is there's one of Shazrayla kind of standing over a defeated Baron Karza. That's not really, it's not brought up at all. Is Karza not concerned about that, or what? Yeah, they're nice visually, but
yeah,
I'm starting to question
well, it certainly eats up
worth at this point.
Yeah. and it certainly eats up the page count.
Yeah, it's sort of 4 pages of ooh, time is all things. Ooh.
Yeah. No, visually it's interesting, but it definitely is when you only have 22 pages, it's it does make you wonder
nowadays.
Or 20 pages. It's more do you really need all these issues? But yeah. So
I'm not sure did we learn anything we didn't really know with
I think the biggest real plot development that happened was most of the team got captured except for Microtron, Larissa, and the M.A.S.K. So which will lead us into issue 3, but it's one of those things where it's and this is very much symptomatic of the pacing problems once Micronauts got to Earth. I feel like it was really solidly paced, that first arc where they're in microspace the whole time.
Yeah.
And that was when Micronauts was at its best, was when it was in microspace. But it's and ever since they came to Earth, it's something's been off, and I don't know what it is.
I will say that bits of this issue, certainly the first initial sequence with the ship crashing and then the Acroyear fighting, that felt sort of good old first arc Micronauts for a while to me. I was this is fun. I'm getting into this.
Yeah.
But then the pacing kind of goes to hell again once Karza starts. Yeah. Talking about the time travelers. there better be some kind of actual resolution to all the business with the time travelers, is all I've got to say.
Yeah.
Like, actual conclusion with actual solid answers, but we'll see.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
we still have the mystery of the mask, because wasn't it in the annual future Oz told present Oz to not trust the mask? So
yes.
that could potentially tie into what's going to go on with the.
Yeah, there's just like the mask again. There's a thing that's kind of vague, and like it was because it came out of the sentient time chamber, and it was like the time chamber had kind of interchanged with the dead time traveler and with the mask or something, and
yeah,
like I think it has suffered. Micronauts has, as well as the pacing issues, it suffered from sort of vagueness about a lot of things.
Yeah, they wanted to have mystery and
in a way that just ends up being kind of frustrating rather than being kind of an engaging mystery.
Yeah,
but all things considered, this I quite like this issue. Like I say, that whole first sequence I did really enjoy. But yeah, Acroyear losing a fight for once. Gosh, like that's how you know things are bad, when Acroyear gets dwarfed.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the problems with Micronauts, is just that it's not, like, its biggest problem is just that, I mean, half this discussion has been, like, identifying the aliens, rather than actually talking about the story, because kind of...
There's not a lot
there's
to
not
get
a ton
you kind
to
of
it,
teeth
yeah.
around.
It's fun, it's a solid read, but it's quick, and it leaves a little to be desired, so...
Yeah, I mean, thinking about it in terms of plot, basically all that happens in this issue is that the Heliopolis crashes and some of the Micronauts get captured. Right. And, yeah, Baron Karza says some things, which, again, it's the pacing problems that this series has suffered from for a while now. Which, it's such a pity because, like you say, that first arc the pacing was spot on in that first arc. Yeah, I do wonder if because we're kind of ticking off a lot of the kind of last Micronauts figures that haven't been in the series with all those aliens. Like, will the Green Baron turn up before the end? It's just like he's a green guy.
Yeah.
And there's a red one, King Atlas, who is the Green Baron but red.
But didn't we get a? Wasn't King Atlas? No, that was the Emperor.
Yes,
okay.
Emperor.
Yeah, we got the Emperor and Red Falcon, who is in this issue, but yeah. Who knows? Maybe those will be the future. Dude, what if Larissa is King Atlas? Like she inverts the color of the armor. Boom. I got it. I know what's gonna happen. I'm calling you out, Cullen Bunn, Jimmy Johnston. Jimmy Z, whatever, however you go by, but
I was gonna say, the spaceship that Membros's gang are flying is a toy thing. It looks like one. It's the Sharkos,
yeah,
I believe.
Yeah,
which the toy is just like is a thing that a guy sits on top, like a kind of jet ski, but it's a spaceship here.
Yeah. See, now I will say this. I love that Bunn has done this over the Micronauts. Is sort of, it's a very Barber-esque kind of, like shove in as many of the toys as possible.
It's totally, yeah.
I love it. It's like I'm not I wasn't really a Micronauts fan until I read this comic, but it's like I can appreciate that just as like. Just from a historical perspective, I can appreciate that. Especially
when there's the fact that this version of Micronauts has basically been kind of reinvented from the toys up.
Oh yeah, because because that's the thing, because the Marvel series is so distinct and did so much. It was Bill Mantlo, and so he kind of is the same thing that happened to Rom, where we're gonna completely do our own thing, You know, it's like we have this basic outline, but it's like we're going to add in a bunch of original characters and all that. And this is very much outside of like the obvious stuff. Like Baron Karza is a ruthless despot.
Yeah,
It's like it's pretty much entirely different. Acroyear is completely different. Space Glider, you know, the Pharoid, all that. So
yeah, I guess kind of actually, this series is kind of it's done Acroyear both ways. He's one of the heroes, like Marvel, but also they're the big evil enemy army as well. Which is,
evil army.
That's a clever way of having it both ways.
Yes, it's very genius. Alrighty. So, with that, let's move on to M.A.S.K.
Our good old friend.
Yes. We get to talk about M.A.S.K. Surprisingly quickly, surprisingly soon after last time.
2 weeks apart.
Yeah.
But then I think it was reasonably behind.
Yeah.
Which month's issue? 7 is... Oh, I can't think which month's issue that would have been. It was...
7 was... Here,
Oh, no, 7 was May's issue.
Yeah, it was May. So it got in just barely.
Oh, just, yeah.
Yeah. So, alright. So this issue continues on last issue with it's the origin of Venom. Matt Trakker is talking with Dr. Mindbender, and Mindbender asks him about Bruno Shepard, who was the other member of Venom whose origin we didn't get to see. So we flash back and we see him and Matt bonding, Matt and Bruno bonding over engineering, and Mayhem debuts the Rhino, which will be Bruno's vehicle. And the Rhino is actually colored correctly for once. Yay!
And so this scene, by the way, is set between the last flashback in the M.A.S.K. Revolution one-shot and kind of the actual events of Revolution, isn't it?
Well, not the Rhino's reveal. The later scene with the Rhino. I was talking about the reveal.
Oh, no, sorry, yeah.
Yeah,
sorry, it's set between that kind of train car training sequence and Revolution, isn't it?
Yeah, so this is the debut of the Rhino. Anyways, so during the flashback, we then jump forward in the flashback to after the events of Revolution.
Yes.
Now, we're going to come back to this, but this pisses me off so much. So, we're going to come back to this. And basically, this is where Bruno has his accident. So the M.A.S.K. team returns from the events of Revolution, like including with the main M.A.S.K. team, as well as Sly, Vanessa, and Bruno. And this is where Bruno has his accident and gets his face all horribly burned away. And then at the end of the flashback, Mayhem teleports, Sly, Vanessa, and Bruno out of the explosion and into his secret base. Apparently because he has Skywarp technology, because this is something that bugs me about M.A.S.K. is it feels so much like it's constantly referencing Transformers when it has no real need to, in my opinion.
That's a good point, yeah.
And it wouldn't bother me if it weren't for the fact that it keeps doing it and I keep seeing it, and it's so noticeable.
Somebody brings up the threat of the Cybertronians every issue, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Yeah. So, and meanwhile, while Matt is telling the story, we also get to see flashes to the... We also jump back to the M.A.S.K. headquarters, where we see Zartan, who, at the end of issue 5, masqueraded, essentially took the place of Brad Turner, and he's trying to get into... and sort of learn M.A.S.K.'s secrets and the secrets of the vehicles for the person who's hired him. Now, we don't know who has hired him to do this, but we do know that it's not Miles Mayhem. So.
Yes.
Yes.
I was wondering that myself, actually, rereading this earlier today. we don't actually know who Zartan is working for.
They do say Zartan tells his employer, Miles Mayhem won't be the only billion-dollar weapons magnate on the marketplace after tomorrow. So that clearly establishes that it's not Miles who hired him.
And it does beg the question, is it another weapons magnate, i.e. is it Destro?
Yes, that's a good question.
Which would probably kind of contradict him and Mayhem working together in the annual, but then...
Well, the annual has to take place after this.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I did notice that, during these flashes out to M.A.S.K HQ, it does now have the whole sort of Boulder Hill petrol station thing going on.
Yeah.
With, a bunch of rocks behind it somehow, despite the fact that it is drawn as being in, basically the middle of a swamp in Miami, but there's, a big mountain still next to it.
Yeah. I don't know.
Which, but if you look at the exterior shots of Boulder Hill in the M.A.S.K annual, it technically doesn't show the direction the swamp would be in, so I think we have to accept that somehow it's the same place at this point.
We'll see what we'll see what happens. I mean, the annual still is in a kind of a weird place as to the placement of it. So,
because it can't be around at this point because Venom are all in prison at the minute.
Yeah. So, okay, where do we start? All right. So we mentioned last week, last time that this was actually starting to get this was actually showed M.A.S.K actually starting to improve, because this was going to give us the chance to really fix the continuity hiccups, and we were getting actual real character out of the Venom team. This issue squandered any goodwill I had for M.A.S.K.
It's like if M.A.S.K's kind of continuity was sort of perhaps kind of a teacup, a teacup with a crack, and then it's like Brandon Easton kind of went in with some glue to try and kind of fix the crack in this teacup, and then sort of accidentally shattered it into even more pieces whilst he was trying to do that. It's kind of beautiful in a way.
Yeah, so the big thing is the flashback where that Matt is relating takes place where Matt, the rest of the team, and the Venom members all come back to the base.
So,
and this is supposed to take place after Revolution number 5.
In which it is explicitly acknowledged that there is a big explosion where Autobot City used to be, and Matt Trakker remarks, "Oh gosh, where are, Vanessa, Bruno, and Sly?" Yeah. They assume they die in the explosion, is the implication you're left with in that issue.
Yeah.
But then M.A.S.K 2 came along and presented us with they think the Venom members are dead, which is they thought they blew up in the explosion, but for some reason everyone in Venom has decided that it's Matt Trakker's fault. They all got kind of nearly killed. There is nothing in Revolution to support that, unless they were expecting Matt Trakker to sort of personally fireman carry them out of Autobot City. There is no good reason presented in Revolution why they should be angry at Matt Trakker for letting them die. So clearly that is what Brandon Easton has tried to go back and fix here. But oh my goodness, the new problems it creates,
Here's the thing: we both thought at the end of issue 6 that flashback was a flashback to the events of Revolution.
Yeah,
and that we would see something that we didn't see before. But no, instead, so now it's only Mayhem that apparently died. That's the thing. They say, you think General Mannheim is dead, and it's so they establish that part, but it's this makes absolutely no sense with what we were given in M.A.S.K number 1, which clearly showed that this is like where like shortly after getting back to their base, the authorities come and and they start getting framed for Venom's crimes.
Well, I guess
which
it's
is
been
never
long
even
enough.
really followed up on, honestly.
It's been long enough for Venom to go and do some crimes, I guess,
Yes.
but it's not implied to be a long time.
Yeah, it's
And I should point out as well that, again, that issue opens with Matt Trakker saying, we found Mayhem's helmet and it had data on it about all the sketchy shit he was doing.
In the battle. Like, he says in the battle we found this. And it's like, which is never shown in Revolution.
And they are just, like, they accept that he is alive at the start of M.A.S.K 1, basically.
Yeah.
But here, they're like, oh gosh, is he really alive? Could he be... Because what to say? Could he be secretly working with the Cybertronians to manipulate the defense agencies? Whatever the hell they're talking about there.
Which makes no sense, given Mayhem's entire character in Revolution.
I don't even get what... And then Matt claims that's a hunch based on past experience. Okay.
What past experience, Matt? God.
But yeah. So somehow they've gone from that to, at the start of M.A.S.K 1, he's alive and he's got a secret weapons network.
Yeah.
But then, and it gets worse from there on out, because we then have, this whole taking the Rhino for a test drive thing. Because the whole idea in this issue is that they were presented with... Mayhem showed them the Rhino before Revolution, and now after and warned them that it wasn't fully finished, and then now after Revolution, they're going to take it for a test drive, and then it all blows up in Bruno's face, except for the fact that they were using the Rhino all throughout Revolution.
Yes, I mean, it was specifically being used by Bruno and Julio. It's like...
Oh, yeah.
Which I mean, that works because the whole thing about the Rhino in the original show was that it needed 2 pilots.
Oh, yes.
So, but that's the thing. But now apparently it's just... And Mayhem even mentions that it's like, that the Rhino's incredibly, powerful and dangerous. But it's like... So I was like, okay, well, that makes sense. Because that's the thing, when I'm reading it, it's like, okay, that explains why it needed 2 pilots in the original. But it's like, in Revolution. But then it's like this scene happens and it makes no sense.
So maybe it was a different Rhino they were using in Revolution.
Yeah.
I don't know how this happened. Has he not read Revolution? Is that actually what we're talking about here? Has he not read Revolution?
I mean, we have to assume that he just didn't, or if he did read Revolution, he clearly didn't pay attention to it. I mean, clearly Easton is, and I don't like calling out people, but it's like, this is your job, so, and, I'm buying your product, it's like, I expect to have some standards, so it's like, so the fact that Easton couldn't even bother, like, and again, it's like, remember the Mindbender thing? The fact that he just didn't bother to actually read any of IDW's previous Joe output to see if Mindbender was in there? It's like, no, he just stuck him in there. It's like...
It is just, like, if say, in the G.I. Joe book, Aubrey Sitterson made some kind of slight continuity mistake regarding, like, one issue of old IDW Joe, I'd be like, okay, yeah, fair enough, like, that you've not read all of that to write this one comic, but, like, Brandon Easton here, like, you can get a list off of Comic Vine right now of the IDW issues Dr. Mindbender was in. Revolution is 5 issues that were released a few months ago. This shouldn't be happening. Like, what?
And quite frankly, it's like, continuity is a minor thing if it's like, if it contradicts like one little thing, it's like it's fine. Like, okay, for instance, Revolutionaries, we tout that as our favorite title, and yet the history that it presents for the Iron Army and for General Blitz is completely contradictory to the established General Blitz history that Fred Van Lente put in his G.I. Joe run.
I'd forgotten that was a thing, actually, when I started reading Revolutionaries. But
Yeah, I mean,
agree.
that's the thing. I only rediscovered it when I was working on wiki articles. But the fact is, that's one minor mention of the Iron Army and General Blitz in one past issue. This is that can be easily be overlooked. This is story breaking. This is the kind of continuity errors that make me completely make me pull out of the story and question how the entire story of this universe works. And when you've done that, you've messed up. You messed up bad.
It's especially, you can clearly see that sort of this was gone into with the intent of trying to unmess up the first arc's nonsense with,
but they don't even
being dead and people blaming each other for being dead. But it kind of does worse in the process.
Yeah, and this would have been a great issue to explain where that mask came from. You know, that prototype mask.
Yeah.
You know, it's like this.
Yeah.
Like this would have been a great issue to explain, sort of to a fix-it issue. You know, but it's like no, they don't. And can I just say, like, the whole thing of like, it's like the radiation from the Rhino is like reacting to Matt's mask.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that's stupid. That's a stupid plot point. Because that's such an artificial way of making Matt Trakker responsible. Like, he's not responsible. Like, because the whole situation is like, it's such a big hurdle to create just so that we can have, Bruno saying, Matt, why won't you help me? And Matt could just say, because if I get any closer, my mask will cause the Rhino to blow up even more. Wait for Vanessa and Sly. It's like, it's so stupidly constructed just to get that, I hate Matt Trakker thing. It's like...
Well, yeah, you can be very sure that when Easton was writing all of Venom being angry at Matt Trakker in issue 2, that he did not already have this odd flashback about, the Rhino blowing up planned out.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess other than the continuity stuff, this issue isn't, it's not terrible, I guess.
Yeah. I will say the most interesting parts of it to me were the Zartan parts.
Yeah.
Which, now, as is usual, I have not read IDW's a ton of IDW's previous Joe output. So, how, the whole Zartan, not, he's being all he doesn't really know the in-jokes and all that. Is that consistent with Zartan?
I don't know, kind of, he did feel a bit kind of weirdly incompetent.
Yeah.
Certainly, being, oh yes, I thought I would, read up on my combat efficiency, and just generally being terrible at acting is kind of...
But to be fair, everybody buys it, so what does that say about the mask? What does that say about the mask character, about the mask team?
And, yeah, well, I suppose the way you explain it is say that he's got, holographic clothes or something, but him transforming is all very sort of, blue energy flickering around, when IDW's Zartan's thing is that he's got weird biology that lets him shapeshift.
Okay.
But I guess you have to say that, he's got, magic holographic clothes or something, because, he can't shapeshift his clothes. That's not a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean that's not a huge... That's not a big deal. But, yeah. We also get, towards the end, is it just me, or does Mindbender seem, oddly, the fact, the soldiers come in, which... To me, they look like Cobra guys, but
those are straight up Cobra Vipers, which
they look
should be around. Really, Cobra doesn't exist. In this continuity at this point.
So it's but it seems weirdly I've paid you a courtesy, Mr. Trakker. I felt partially responsible for assisting Mayhem in gathering you poor souls. But consider this a payment of debt. Don't ever barge into my sanctum again, Trakker. It would be considered a dire insult. That's like, well, that's a real weird shift in personality for Mindbender. Like, just in this issue alone, honestly.
It's all very unclear. Like, I assume this was written with the intention that, yeah, he is still, like, a Cobra guy, but, like, he can't be...
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Mindbender disappeared after that first arc in the Van Lente run, I'm pretty sure, right?
I think that was the last time he was around.
Yeah, and even then, like, he was on video monitors, so, like, I don't know. Like, at first I thought he was captured or something, but I guess not. I don't know. Anyways, yeah. But, yeah.
Like,
and of course, yeah. And of course the issue ends with the forced romance between Gloria and Matt that has absolutely no chemistry because this, like, the writing has not allowed for any chemistry to really develop between those two and all that.
Gloria Baker is here to hack things and wear skimpy clothing, and that is about it.
Yeah, which, I mean, yeah, it's like it's kind like that's the thing. Like, there's kind of an ass shot of her, like, on this last page, and it's like
it's nothing as cringy as that bit from the end of last.
Yeah.
So, like, really?
Trust me. I mean, I've seen much worse ass shots, but still, it's outlined. Like, it's like, come on, man. So, but yeah. Oh, and then we see a flashback to him save, like, talking with Sly and Vanessa, even though, like, and fixing up Bruno. Because apparently Miles Mayhem can do complex cybernetic surgeries.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Does that tube just somehow put cybernetics in you, or is that like a cybernetics recovery tube? Who knows?
Yeah.
And also, okay, no, he just has it for what I thought for a moment. Bruno was consistently using like a weird kind of font, but no, he just uses it in that first panel after he comes out.
Yeah, it's sort of that kind of voice you have in the morning, I think. It's sort of the implication, sort of that.
But yeah, because then the next arc for M.A.S.K is Underground Monsters, isn't it?
Yes, I believe is. Yeah, they're going underground to...
because they're going to remember that they're dying of radiation poisoning.
Yeah.
They kind of forgot about that for a while. Well, they're going to remember and try and do something about it.
Yeah. Which does put a kibosh on the whole, hey, let's recruit new members. And then...
Yes, that's really irresponsible, Matt Trakker. Yes, let's recruit more people to give radiation poisoning to.
But you know what's really hilarious to me, though? Is that now we have the solicitations for the final issue. No new members actually join up.
No.
So like, that whole teasing new members was entirely pointless.
True.
I hate
this
so much.
I'm guessing maybe we might get sort of a final page of the issue is like, and the adventure continues and they're recruiting, like, I don't know, some guy.
Probably like characters like Hondo McLean or Dusty Hawks.
I don't want to look up a list of M.A.S.K characters.
Dusty Hayes, Buddy Hawks.
I'll just be cringing at its like hilarious array of terrible 80s racial stereotypes.
Yeah. No, dude, I do kind of want to see Hondo, who's like, because his whole thing is like he's a teacher, and like, but he's also like the main strategist of M.A.S.K. It's like, I think honestly Dusty would work well as sort of the new kid for the team. honestly, but yeah.
I did watch
I've
the
gone
first
back and that's the thing. I haven't bothered to go back and actually read IDW's G.I. Joe books, but I have bothered to actually go back and watch the terrible M.A.S.K cartoon.
I watched the first episode, and you'd have to pay me to watch more. Frankly, like, ugh, no, thank you.
I do not blame you at all. Trust me, it's so bad.
I don't actually remember what characters are in it, other than like Matt Trakker and Scott Trakker and T-Bob and Mars Mayhem.
Yeah.
Like, I guess that one guy who was in the M.A.S.K annual was probably in it.
Cliff
Yes.
Dagger. Yeah.
I assume he was probably in it, but no,
Yeah.
I cannot remember.
Yeah. But yeah. So that is so yeah. M.A.S.K number 7 it's bad. It's bad.
Well, yeah.
So before we head out, Callum, what's coming out next week or this upcoming week?
Yeah.
And
so as discussed, we've got Hasbro Heroes Sourcebook number 1, and so yeah, again that warning is, if you want to avoid revolutionary spoilers, skip the Atomic Man and Centurion profiles. We've got ROM 11, which starts the new story arc, which is called Long Roads to Ruin, and also starts the new backup stories.
ooh, yes, I'm excited for that.
The name.
Legends of the Space Knights.
Oh, and the artist, though, because he drew...
Sal Buscema.
Yes, yeah.
Yes. Oh, I'm so excited.
Oh, and actually, yeah, ROM 11 is also the issue with the best alternate cover ever, with the Space Romance alternate cover.
Yes.
I love Olivia, but her heart belongs to the Soulstar Order.
I love that.
Can there be no love for Space Knights?
Oh, I am definitely getting that.
Cover.
Okay, I'm definitely getting that cover.
That's one of the sub covers.
Yeah.
That's great. And finally, we have got Lost Light 6, which is concluding that book's first arc, which seems like it's taken ages, but I guess it was it was supposed to start a month behind Optimus Prime, so that's not actually that. Yeah. And also, potential interest, Misfits 5 is out next week.
Yeah.
So yeah, we probably be discussing that on the show, but it's kind of related to all this.
Yeah.
And it is a very good miniseries.
Yeah.
Just to chill it for anyone listening.
That's one of those things where Callum will probably have to take that one because I have not been reading Gem, so any Gem issues it will probably fall to him to kind of discuss.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
yeah, I mean, Gem's weird, you know. It's
these episodes. But I mean, could even look into I could find someone who has read Gem to rope in to do some bonus episodes, maybe going back through some of it.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see, but
that is it for next week's shipping list. And then judging off the iTunes previews, we may be getting some of Salvation and Revolutionaries 5 and such in the week off.
So and that's thing, and so we're definitely going to have a busy week next week. So that episode will probably be a bit longer. Hopefully we won't go over 2 hours though, but I do try to keep these under 2 hours. So
yeah, it's interesting. The iTunes previews aren't always exactly 2 weeks. It varies sometimes, so we might only have another 2. Perhaps that's possible.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I think the extended forecast on comiclist.com, which is what I use, said, I think it said, Revolutionaries number 5, Gem number 24 or 25.
It'll be 26.
Okay, 26,
which is super late at this point. How late is that? I've got my list here. An April issue, like Revolutionaries 5.
So yeah, there's quite a and Optimus number 8, I think. So we'll see what's coming and all that. So, but yes, so thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and non-binary folks everywhere for joining us for another episode of Action and Adventure, the Hasbro Universe podcast. Callum, where can people find you on the internet?
So I'm around a lot on websites like the Allspark and occasionally TFW 2005. I poke my nose in there and hope the kind of smell doesn't linger too long.
Honestly, I should ask myself the same question.
I am also, see me around on TFWiki, and you can follow me on Twitter, where I am at Jalaguy, Jala Guy.
And I'm Daniel Adkins, PRD on Twitter. Daniel Adkins on YouTube. Pretty much Daniel Adkins anywhere. I mean, I don't really go by usernames. But yeah, I'm constantly posting on the Allspark forums. I'm an editor for the IDW Hasbro Wiki. I occasionally edit the Transformers Wiki when I see something that needs to be done. All that kind of stuff. And of course, you can continue to follow the podcast. We have our Twitter at HasbroU Podcast. You can check us out on Libsyn at hasbrouniverse.libsyn.com. We're on iTunes, so leave us a review on iTunes. That's definitely a big way to help us out since we're just getting started and leaving a review. We're also on Google Play. I got us on Google Play. If that is your preferred podcast host of choice. You can pretty much find us where all around. We don't really have Facebook though because I don't use Facebook at all. So. I should point out that I am also on Tumblr. Yes, I'm also.
If you want to see me reblogging nonsense onto your feed, that is an option for you.
Yes, I'm also on the Tumblrs as Daniel Adkins blog. So, like I said, I'm super boring. I don't have an interesting name like this guy. Yeah.
Oh no, as the example of the kind of content you get, the last content I reblogged on Tumblr was Star Wars prequel jokes. Because
now that is quality content.
But betraying my age there.
Yeah.
That is me. Oh, and also I have recently been talking about a very special issue that we're going to be talking about in a special episode of this podcast.
Oh yes, join us next week for our very first bonus episode where we'll be talking about the Schick Hydrobot meets the Transformers. Stay tuned.
It is an amazing comic.
I
promise you it is an amazing comic.
It really is. We actually are going to go record that episode, so take care everybody.
Goodbye.
Secret raiders who will neutralize